let's dive right into this explainer. We're going to be talking about preparing ourselves, both physically and spiritually, for all the uncertainties coming up in 2026 and 2027. Drawn from a really fascinating conversation on Gaji Kijaven, the source material offers a roadmap that is as practical as it is profound. We aren't just talking about pinching pennies here. We are talking about a complete paradigm shift in how we handle our resources and our own minds. So the crucial question we really have to ask ourselves right now is this. What do you actually need to not just survive, but truly thrive amid looming inflation and massive economic shifts? I mean, with the cost of living skyrocketing and wages often staying completely stagnant, the traditional paths to security are being heavily tested. The sources point out that simply crossing your fingers and waiting for a salary bump from a corporate job is a losing game. We absolutely need a completely different toolkit for the years ahead. To build that toolkit, our agenda today covers 5 key areas. 1. Youth financial reality. 2. Multiple income streams. 3. The old soul mindset. 4. Inner technology. And 5. Ancestral wisdom. Let's get right to it. Starting things off with Section 1, Youth financial reality. Navigating the wealth gap. It's super interesting to see how today's youth are currently handling their money with the looming threat of a recession, because the source material highlights a really stark generational divide. You've got Gen Z, who are super ambitious and eager to multiply their cash by diving headfirst into crypto and stocks. But on the flip side, we have millennials and Gen X, who tend to play it much, much safer, leaning heavily towards reliable office jobs, traditional saving, and overall stability. But you know what? Both of these approaches actually have a fatal flaw when it comes to true long-term resilience. The danger of this modern, fast-paced investing trend is glaringly clear. Jumping into high-risk stocks without basic financial literacy or a solid emergency fund is a massive trap. The sources emphasize that before you even think about the stock market, you absolutely must have a basic safety net. If you skip step 1 and jump straight to step 10, a sudden economic downturn will completely wipe you out. Which brings us right to Section 2, multiple streams of income, the financial playbook. So, how do we actually build that critical financial resilience to combat stagnant wages? You do it by building a solid foundation step by step. First, you start by building an emergency fund. Second, you limit consumer spending. So, maybe hold off on that expensive daily coffee if your buying power is shrinking. Third, and honestly most crucially, you must create multiple streams of income. Why? Because if one stream dries up during a recession, the others are going to subsidize you. Only then do you move to step 4, investing safely. Now, to build those extra income streams, you have to learn the foundational skill of selling. But as this quote from the source perfectly frames it, selling isn't about aggressively pushing a product on someone. It's about elegantly showing them why they need it. It's reverse psychology. You aren't begging them to buy. You are simply presenting a really great solution to their problem. Once you master this mindset, creating new income becomes incredibly accessible. And the best part is, there were so many accessible ways to begin right from your smartphone. The sources specifically mention starting out with affiliate marketing programs like Naji Raso, or becoming a reseller for networks like Jama Ripa. Seriously, all you need is your phone, some social media, and a willingness to leverage WhatsApp and learn from a trusted mentor. It's that simple to start diversifying your revenue and building real resilience. But hey, money is honestly only half the battle. You can have all the wealth in the world, but if you lack emotional stability, you are still totally vulnerable. So let's dive into Section 3, the old soul mindset, beyond the physical world. The absolute crucial point here is becoming an old soul, or jivatua. Now, an old soul doesn't just look at an event at face value. They look right through it to find the underlying moral meaning. When things go wrong, as they inevitably do, they focus on growth and solutions, rather than throwing a fit or letting the event completely destroy them. This text offers this incredibly powerful metaphor that I absolutely love. Outsourcing your joy to romantic partners or outside events is quite literally giving away the remote control to your happiness. Think about it. Whether it's a partner, a boss, or the economy, if they hold your remote, they can change your channel to sadness or anger whenever they want. An old soul keeps their remote control firmly in their own pocket. We can see the difference in reactions using a classic example: a bad breakup or a big career failure. Someone who is just reacting is going to feel frustrated, angry, and utterly destroyed. But an adapting old soul, they know that every ending is just a fresh beginning. They truly believe something better is coming, and they just keep moving forward with positivity. So, how do we get to that point? Let's move to section 4, inner technology and happiness, the hardware of the soul. According to the source, the creator actually gave us the most advanced internal tools imaginable. We've got our 5 vital organs, a wildly complex nervous system, 7 chakra points, and even our pores, which connect us directly to the universe. We usually think of technology as our smartphones and laptops, right? But we are walking around with the ultimate hardware designed for spiritual and emotional mastery. We just have to learn how to boot it up. When you actually turn this inner hardware on, especially the heart's massive capacity for love and forgiveness, you become emotionally bulletproof. The text explains that when these 5 vital organs are energetically activated, outside events simply cannot trigger negative reactions inside you. You start to recognize that sadness, anger, and disappointment are realities existing outside of you, not within you. Consider this incredibly peaceful idea. We can just observe life's dramas without getting tangled up in them at all. Imagine you were just a CCTV camera. The events of your life, the financial stress, the relationship drama, they are just passing guests casually walking through the frame. You witness them, sure, but you are not altered by them. And you know you've hit this level of inner peace and your internal technology is fully activated when your entire baseline of happiness shifts. Simply finding joy in me time, reading a good book, drinking tea, or just observing nature, becomes deeply fulfilling because you are entirely whole on your own. You no longer need external validation to feel complete. You become perfectly, beautifully self-reliant. For our final stretch, let's look at section 5, Wisdom of Nusantara Ancestors, Ancient Roots. We need to look at where this profound spiritual knowledge originates within the Indonesian archipelago. There's this beautiful ancient Javanese philosophy that perfectly captures the ultimate goal of all this preparation. Urip iku urip. Life is a flame, or life should be of use to others. It basically means that once you have built your wealth and secured your own inner peace, your life should be a radiant, helpful light to everyone around you. You prepare yourself so that you can be of use to others. What's truly amazing is how this wisdom survived and was passed down. These ancestors taught through gentle behavior and loving actions, rather than just forcing doctrine on people. They recorded this profound knowledge in ancient, highly sought-after texts, like the Surat Centhini. And today, this wisdom is actively being kept alive and guided by modern mentors like Pa Kojim and Pa Kweon. But sadly, there's a huge disconnect today. So many young people just default to heavily marketed, widely consumed imported wisdom, which is super popular right now. But in doing so, they are completely missing out on their own deeply profound Nusantara philosophy. It is this deep well of local knowledge that often gets totally ignored, but is just waiting to be powerfully rediscovered by a new generation. Which leads to this really powerful prediction from the source text. Because the Nusantara region holds such deep, ancient wisdom, it is literally destined to become the spiritual laboratory of the world. People are going to look to these ancient philosophies to figure out exactly how to navigate modern chaos. So, as we face the uncertainties of 2026, 2027, and beyond, I want to leave you with a big question to chew on. What are you going to build first for 2027? Your bank account or your inner resilience? Both outer wealth and inner wisdom are absolutely crucial, but which one will you start working on today? Remember, mastering your internal technology might just be the very key to unlocking your external resilience. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.